Hi guys, this is Hirosaki. This story is all about what if Naruto was given a time travel jutsu. After receiving a time travel jutsu as payment for a mission, the original 4 members of Team 7 each get a chance to go back to one event in their life and change it. Surely, they will use such an awesome power responsibly, right? Don't count on it. Before we start, kindly like and subscribe to this channel and look over the description box for the author of this amazing storyline. Welcome aboard. Chapter 19, Why Drunken Time Travel is a Bad Idea. Kakashi was mildly drunk. He had wanted to stay completely sober, but as Naruto, Jiraiya, Gamabunta, and even Minato all drinking, he felt obliged to have some as well. Of course, he was glad he did, because by the time Naruto managed to get drunk, which took quite a bit of sake thanks to the Kyuubi, he probably would have had a panic attack were he sober. Jiraiya and Gamabunta, despite apparently being regular drinking bodies, were also quite drunk, while he and Minato were only slightly intoxicated. Minato had refrained from overindulging as he didn't want to set a bad example by getting wasted in the middle of the day, while Kakashi was just worried that Naruto would end up spilling the beans on the fact that they were from the future. Of course, the boy was so drunk that no one would believe him, but Team 7 occasionally acted odd enough that if anyone attempted to figure out what was up with them, he didn't want Naruto to inadvertently point them in the right direction. "Eroshinin, I missed you when you died," Naruto said solemnly. "Died?" Jiraiya blinked a couple of times. "Who died, kid?" "I didn't die." Naruto laughed suddenly. "I know. Isn't that great? I love you, Eroshinin." With that he stood shakily, wobbled over to his godfather, and practically collapsed on his lap. "If only you was a girl," Jiraiya shook his head ruefully. "And not 12. Or Minato's kid." Gamabunta chuckled throatily. "So if only he was the exact opposite of himself? You'd be better off wishing that about someone with less to change." Jiraiya thought about that for a minute. "Well, I do like blondes." "I am not hearing this," Minato moaned. "Jiraiya-sensei likes blondes." "Don't be too put out, Minato-sensei," Kakashi tried to console him, doing his best to ignore the buzzing in his head. "From what I can tell, he likes most anything female and of age, and Naruto is neither." "No, he's not," Minato agreed. "He can do the raise-non, though." "How long did it take you to teach him?" "Oh, it took him a good month, I'd say. I told him what I knew about it when we left for Wave," Kakashi lied. "Why didn't you tell me?" Minato demanded. "That was a good 2 months ago." You're very overprotective, and I wasn't sure if you'd be okay with me teaching him such a risky jutsu," Kakashi covered. "Once he had it down, I couldn't complain," Minato argued. "Well, much. And then there was what happened after you found out just a little about what happened in Wave," Kakashi continued. Minato looked stricken. "You let my son die. That was completely different." "Maybe I didn't want to take that chance," Kakashi sniffed. "And what you should be doing is asking Naruto why he didn't tell you, as he wouldn't get in trouble if you didn't like my teaching methods." There, now that was Naruto's problem. Kakashi was even reasonably sure that he deserved it, as the boy was currently causing all sorts of problems for him. "And then he told me that I didn't understand because our situations weren't exactly the same. Like anybody's gonna have the exact same sob story. Isn't it enough we were both orphans?" "What? You're not an orphan," Jiraiya pointed out. "Remember, Naruto, orphan means both parents are dead, not just one," Kakashi quickly stepped in. "I know that." "I'm not stupid," Naruto pouted. "No, but you are extremely drunk," Kakashi countered. "I am not," Naruto declared, climbing unsteadily to his feet. Of course, then he promptly fell over, so the effect was rather lessened. "You didn't teach Sasuke or Sakura the raise-non," Did you? Minato asked, worried that Kakashi had decided to up and teach A-rank jutsus to every minor he interacted with. Team 7 was his first attempt at teaching anyone who hadn't been in Umbu, after all. Of course not. Kakashi denied. I only taught Naruto the Rasengan because you invented it and he was going to learn it at some point anyway. Minato looked relieved. I'm sorry, I should have known you wouldn't be so reckless. I did teach Sasuke the Chidori, though, Kakashi admitted. And Sakura? Minato looked almost afraid of the answer. Just the Taijutsu and increasing her chakra reserves. Her control is perfect, but she doesn't have enough of it for any of the heavy hitters yet, Kakashi replied. Hey, Kakashi, Naruto had managed to get to his feet again and stumble over to his fellow time traveler. You know how the Chidori's supposed to be an assassination thingy. As I created it, the odds of me having that knowledge is quite good, Kakashi confirmed. Is that a no? Naruto asked after trying and failing to figure out what that meant. Kakashi sighed, no, that's a yes. No, that's a yes. Naruto didn't understand that either. Yes, I do know that Chidori is supposed to be an assassination jutsu, Kakashi clarified. So, assassinations are supposed to be quiet, so why's the Chidori sound like birds? Naruto asked, surprisingly reasonable considered he was too wasted to walk straight. Jiraiya and Gamabunta had apparently been playing a game of some sort as Gamabunta was loudly accusing the Sunin of cheating. How does he know what the Chidori sounds like? Minato asked suspiciously. Thinking quickly, Kakashi replied, he saw me showing it to Sasuke. Don't worry, he and Sakura were far enough away not to be in any danger from it. He does have a point about it being too loud for an assassination jutsu, Minato decided. When you're only assassinating one person, by the time they hear the Chidori, they're already dead, Kakashi defended his prize jutsu. Besides, if we can have orange-clad ninja, then I can have a nature-oriented killing technique. What's wrong with being an orange-clad ninja? Naruto demanded. It's not very stealthy, for one, Kakashi answered. Do I need to be? Naruto was honestly curious. Ninja usually were before we settled down and formed villages, Minato replied. Oh. Well, that's stupid. I'd rather be orange than stealthy, Naruto announced. No kidding. Kakashi muttered. Hey. Jiraiya's head suddenly shot up and he stumbled his way over to them. Naruto's still gots to ride on Gamabunta to see if he passes the test. Kakashi eyed Naruto critically. Are you sure that's such a good idea? He can barely stand. Not to worry, he can sit on my head, Gamabunta assured him. Just as long as he doesn't fall off. I can do it. Naruto insisted. I did it before and I can do it again. We've never met before, kid, Gamabunta told him. Yeah, we have. It was a long time ago, before I went back in Desh, Naruto started to say before Kakashi clamped a hand over his mouth. That quite enough of that, don't you think? He said sternly. He really hoped Naruto could keep his mouth closed while he was riding around on Gamabunta. Don't worry, Kakashi, Naruto stage whispered. I won't give away our secret. Kakashi smacked his forehead. At the rate this was going, he wouldn't be too sure about that. What secret? Minato asked darkly. Why are you and my son keeping secrets from me? Kakashi groaned. That was it. Naruto was never allowed to go drinking again. Sakura could barely move after her first day of training. She was fairly certain that Tsunade had gone easier on her when she had first started in the old timeline, but then she supposed that since she had some experience this time the Slug Sunin had figured she could handle it. No to mention she only had a month to train for the finals. Sakura decided to take the scenic route home to try and see if she could regain enough chakra to heal herself a bit or find some place to clean herself up, as she really didn't want her civilian parents to see her and get concerned. On her way past the barbecue place, she saw Team Tensa and Zasuma eating right in front and decided that she might as well put her return home off further and say hi. "Hey guys," she greeted them with a smile. "Hi Fora, are you alright?" Ino asked, concerned. "You look like you just got the crap beaten out of you." "I kind of did," Sakura admitted. "Just tell me who did it and I swear to God they are going down," Ino growled. "Oh, it's nothing like that," Sakura assured her friend. "It's just part of my training for the exam." "Really?" Ino asked skeptically. "Why aren't you doing anything like that, Shikamaru?" "Troublesome," Shikamaru murmured, resting his head on the table. "What?" Ino demanded. "He said troublesome," Koji helpfully repeated. "I knew that," Ino insisted. "Then why did you ask what he said?" Koji asked reasonably. "I was being dramatic." Ino shook her head. "My teammates have no sense of melodrama. And my teammates are all suffering from an excess," Sakura replied. "I think that's worse, actually." "If you say so," Ino sounded unconvinced. She poked Shikamaru's head. "If you don't take your training seriously, then how in the world do you expect to be able to avenge me in the finals?" Sakura froze. "Avenge you?" Ino nodded. "Yeah, against that Tamari girl that I went up against in the preliminaries. Shikamaru's going up against her in the first round." "Vengeance is not the answer, Saser, Ino," Sakura amended. Ino looked at her questioningly at the slip-up, but didn't ask about it. "I understand that I needed a wake-up call. This exam has made me realize more than anything that this is not a game, but did she really have to be so brutal about it?" Sakura shrugged helplessly. Suna's a different world, Ino. She didn't have to go out of her way to humiliate me like that, Ino pointed out. Just being outmatched was enough. "I know, but..." Sakura hesitated. "Do you really have to use the word vengeance? I kind of have a minor panic attack every time I hear that word or any variation of it." "Why?" Koji asked, reaching for another plate of barbecue. "Well..." Sakura trailed off. Talking to Sasuke about vengeance probably counted as encouraging him, especially as it would be something that they temporarily had in common, and Ino still liked him, even if she did seem to be making an honest effort to be more serious about being a kunoichi. "You normally have to say that to Sasuke, right?" Shikamaru asked. "And apparently quite often." "How did you know?" Sakura asked, surprised. "He's the most likely one on your team to be after vengeance after what Orochimaru did," Shikamaru replied with a shrug. "He is so tragic." Ino swooned. "He also doesn't like talking about it, so unless you want to piss him off, don't mention it," Sakura advised. "Of course I'm not going to do that," Ino exclaimed. "What do you take me for, oblivious?" Sasuke was sitting in a clearing in the woods trying to improve his control over Amaterasu. Given the fact that if he made a mistake, he'd have a forest fire on his hands and it hadn't rained in a while, that was some pretty powerful incentive to not mess this up. "I'm telling you, Lee, it's probably just someone practicing a jutsu," Niji's voice sounded from a little way behind him. "But Niji, forest fires are so unyouthful," Lee protested. "Don't you agree, Tenten?" "I think it doesn't matter what I think as we're going to investigate either way," Tenten responded as Team Guy stepped into view. "Ah. It is my eternal rival," Lee said, pointing at Sasuke dramatically. Niji raised an eyebrow. "I thought I was your so-called eternal rival, dot." "Careful, Niji, you sound jealous," Tenten teased. "I'm not," Niji insisted, glaring at her. And it looks like I was right about the jutsu practice. Do not worry, Niji. Just because Guy-sensei only has one eternal rival does not mean that it is not possible to have more than one, Lee assured him. Since when am I your eternal rival? Sasuke wanted to know. Since Sakura revealed that she was madly in love with you, of course. Lee declared. She said she used to like me, Sasuke reminded him. And that we're not going to worry about our hormones until after we make Chiyunin. And I will fight you since we both made it to the finals, Lee nodded. I remember. Lee. Tenten said. The way the tournament is set up, you'll only fight Sasuke if you both make it to the final round. Then make it to the final round I shall. Lee decided. What about you? Will you meet me there? I'll definitely make it, Sasuke said. But whether I'll see you there or not is another story. Your first opponent is Naruto, after all, and he's my eternal rival. How youthful. Lee gushed. You guys will need to get past me first and I simply do not see that happening, Niji interjected. You wouldn't meet Lee until the final round if you made it that far, but I will definitely defeat you. If Sakura doesn't do it for me, Sasuke said almost as an afterthought. Niji snorted. The pink-haired girl. She may have beaten Hinata-sama, but I could have done it in a fraction of the time. She is fated to lose that match. 27 minutes, Tenten announced. What? Sasuke asked, confused. Tenten keeps track of how long Niji goes without talking about fate, Lee explained. I don't believe in fate, Sasuke declared. It does not matter if you believe or not, Niji said. What is meant to be will be. That is such an easy thing to say, Tenten spoke up. After something is already done, it is the easiest thing in the world to claim that there was no other way for it to have played out, even though a different choice would have resulted in a different outcome. True, Niji allowed. But a different choice was not made because it was not fated to be made. I actually agree with Tenten on this one, Sasuke said. I can all too clearly see a world where Kakashi didn't lead an angry mob by my house the night of a massacre so everyone would know Orochimaru was responsible, and so my brother would be blamed and I'd spend the rest of my life trying to kill him. Just think, if Kakashi had taken a different path that night, or not pissed off so many people. But that didn't happen, Niji said decisively. Because that's absurd. You're telling me, Sasuke murmured. Sasuke and Sakura were already waiting at Ichiraku Ramen when Naruto bounded in, as full of energy as ever. Kakashi trailed after him, holding a hand in front of his eyes. Is he all right? Sakura asked, concerned. Why yes, I'm feeling fantastic. In fact, I'm feeling so great I might just have to go take down an Akatsuki member single-handedly, Kakashi snapped. Don't mind him, Naruto said cheerfully. He's just cranky because he's hungover from earlier when we initiated me into the Toad Summoners this morning. Then why aren't you? Sasuke asked. Naruto gave him a strange look. Because I was initiated into the Toad Summoners. I just said that. I'm thrilled, I missed being able to summon them. No, I meant, why aren't you hungover? Sasuke clarified. Naruto shrugged. I don't know. Fast metabolism. It's probably the Kyuubi, Kakashi hazarded a guess. And I officially hate him. Being a Jinchuriki is not all fun and games, you know, Naruto lectured sternly. Even if it is next to impossible to experience chakra exhaustion, you have amazing stamina, heal ridiculously fast, and apparently don't get hungover. That's not the only reason, Kakashi informed him. What did I do? Naruto asked, clueless. Every time you turned around you kept mentioning something from the future. Kakashi burst out. I did. Naruto looked sheepish. My bad. Naruto, how could you? Sakura demanded. I was drunk. Naruto reminded her. And it will never happen again, Kakashi vowed. Ah. Naruto sulked. So what happened? What did you tell them? Sakura asked anxiously. Kakashi shrugged. I managed to convince them for the most part that Naruto was just really drunk, but they may remember this later and put two and two together if we're not careful. And frankly, Naruto, you blowing a ton of money on sake to get drunk is simply not worth the risk. Why didn't we ever tell anyone, anyway? Sasuke asked. There was a silence. Well, it's kind of hard to believe, Naruto said at last. Yeah, but we know enough that we could convince people easily enough, Sasuke pointed out. Naruto shrugged. Kakashi hadn't said anything when I got back. They looked to Kakashi, since he'd been back a decade before Naruto. I just didn't want to, Kakashi said simply. That's ridiculous, Sakura said. Perhaps, Kakashi replied. But it's working for us, so Naruto can't drink. You two shouldn't either, just in case. Sakura snorted. My parents would kill me. She paused. Although while we're on the subject of things we're not allowed to do, Ino's apparently on a revenge kick right now, so we need to keep her away from Sasuke. No arguments here, Sasuke agreed. And now we've got more things that are more important to Sasuke than revenge. Naruto beamed. I feel like we're really getting through to him. Chapter 20, Impenetrable defenses are kind of boring. The day of the Chunin exam finals arrived at last. Concerned about Minato's safety, since not only Orochimaru but at the very least Madara had their eye on Konoha, Kakashi talked the Hokage into letting him into the cage box as a guard. It would have been easier to convince Minato to have either Rin or Obito in there as well, given there were his team, but Obito was proctoring and Rin was on healing Chunin hopefuls duty. Instead, Kakashi had eventually managed to persuade Minato to have Itaki as another guard. Hopefully the three of them would be enough should anything happen. Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto, Temari, Gaara, Shikamaru, Kiba, Neji, Lee, and Shino were all gathered on the arena floor for some last-minute instructions from their proctor, who would be showing up any time now, they were sure. Where is he? Sakura asked irritably, turning to Sasuke. How should I know? Sasuke snapped back. You live with him. Sakura reminded him. He left the house before I did, Sasuke told her. So honestly, I have no idea. What do you think, Naruto? Sakura asked. I can't believe Sasuke actually showed up on time, Naruto said, shaking his head in bemusement. Because, you know, last time dash. Shut up. Sasuke ordered. That wasn't my fault. You never did tell us what took so long, Sakura remarked. Sasuke shivered. You're better off not knowing, believe me. Tell me. Naruto demanded. You know how Kakashi always had the most idiotic excuses for why he was late? Sasuke asked rhetorically. Well, it turns out that while he did spend most of that time staring at the memorial, he also got into some of the most bizarre situations. That poor tree. What happened? Sakura pressed. But Sasuke refused to say any more on the subject. Frustrated, Naruto turned to Gaara. So how was your month? I haven't killed anyone in 30 days, Gaara informed him. I'm actually at a loss as to when the last time I went 7 days without killing anyone was. Naruto winced. That's great, but you might not want to mention that in front of any of the people involved in the exam, or that might get back to my dad. Most genin don't kill anyone, so to do it so frequently might make him wonder. Gaara nodded. Duly noted. It was kind of funny, though, Temari confided. Poor Kankuro is still convinced you guys did something or made a doppelganger or whatnot. Naruto feigned innocence. I don't know what you're talking about. I noticed you guys because of those evil soulless puppets of Kankuros, and my empathy for you guys having to deal with something like that on a daily basis might have propelled me to talk to you, but I love meeting new people. We really did just treat you guys like everybody else. Exactly, Temari stressed. That just doesn't happen. Naruto looked confused. Oh, because you guys are the kids of the Kazekage? Well, I'm the son of the Hokage, so that's not really such a big deal for me either. Never mind, Temari said, shaking her head ruefully. Did my opponent for the first round just fall asleep? Naruto quickly glanced over at Shikamaru, who had sat down and seemed to be snoring. It would appear so, he agreed. Oh, this is so not fair, Temari complained. How did I get stuck with such a lame opponent? If you think he's so lame, it should be an easy victory, right? Naruto asked her. Easy and impressive are not necessarily one and the same, and there is no way me taking down someone who won't even stay conscious now will ever be seen as impressive, Temari replied. Well, there will be other matches. Naruto offered. Being late is so unyouthful, Lee said mournfully. I really want to have my most youthful match with Naruto. Hello everyone, sorry I'm late, Obito said, strolling into the arena. There was this tree and, well, you're probably better off not knowing. Definitely better off if it was what I think it was, Sasuke agreed quietly. Oh god, not another story you refuse to elaborate on. Sakura groaned. We haven't even gotten the squirrel story yet. To be fair, I don't know what happened either, Sasuke told her. But I will, so help me, I will. Okay, before we start I just want to make sure everyone remembers who they are fighting, Obito said. How could someone forget who they're fighting? Kiba demanded. You couldn't possibly specialize your training specifically around your first opponent if you don't know who it is. I don't know who I'm fighting, Naruto said. I know Sakura's fighting Neji, Shino's against Gaara, Sasuke and Kiba have a grudge match, and Shikamaru's with Temari of course. No, wait, I guess I do know who I'm fighting after all. By process of elimination, Shino noted. Naruto shrugged. What works, works. You realize Lee just mentioned he was fighting you, right? Neji asked. Naruto shook his head. Nope, I must not have been paying attention. So what else is new? Shikamaru murmured. Okay, since Naruto just reminded anyone else who might have forgotten of the match UPS, I'm going to move on to reminding you that there are no rules here except that you need to keep the fight down here and no firing into the crowd. Seriously, you have no idea what that would do to our tourist industry. Obito shook his head at the thought. So aside from giving our fights geographical boundaries and not killing potential customers, anything's fair game? Temari asked. Obito nodded. Absolutely. The matches go until either one party gives up or dies. If it's clear that one party cannot continue to fight, I will call the match. If you do not stop after I do so, you will be disqualified. Also, if a death looks completely senseless, it will be allowed, but it will really hurt your chances of passing the MSR, so I wouldn't recommend it. Now, unless there are any more questions, the first fight is Gaara vs Shino, so everyone else clear out. So how do you think Gaara will do? Minato asked the Kazekage. I have full faith in his abilities, the Kazekage responded with confidence. I may not know much about his opponent, but I am certain that Gaara can come out victorious. Shino does bugs, Kakashi announced. And while his victory would undoubtedly be amusing, I'm still pulling for Gaara. Really? Minato glanced back at him. But Shino is from Konoha. Yes, do you find it at all strange that of 10 finalists there are 2 from Suna and the other 8 are from Konoha? The Kazekage asked. There are always more candidates entered from the nation that hosts the exam, Minato responded. From what I understand, 6 of your 8 are rookies, though, the Kazekage pointed out. This is simply unheard of. We have a very talented group of rookies this year, Minato explained. Clearly. To answer your question, Hokage-sama, I bet on Gaara, Kakashi replied. You should have more faith in your village, Minato chided. I have plenty of faith, Kakashi insisted. But I just don't see how bugs can take down sand armor. You also bet on the Kazekage's daughter, Itaki reminded him. Minato frowned disapprovingly. Well, yeah. Kakashi sounded sheepish. But in my defense, Shikamaru doesn't really seem to want to be here, so I can't imagine he'll be willing to face 3 matches. You are one of the Jounin senseis who has a team still in the exam, yes? The Kazekage asked. Kakashi looked mildly surprised. Yes I am. Is it really fair of you to be placing bets then, given that you have intimate information on at least one of the genin? The Kazekage continued. 3, actually, Kakashi corrected, a hint of pride in his voice. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's legal, it's fair. Besides, I wasn't even really planning on betting on all of them. Let me get this straight, Minato said, raising his eyebrows. Naruto knows the Rasengan and signed with the Toads, and Sasuke knows the Chidori and has a Manga Kyoshirin, and you wanted to bet against them. Well, not them, Kakashi admitted. Sakura, though, but Itaka wouldn't let me. You need to have more faith in your team, Itaki insisted. If she finds out that her own Jounin sensei has no faith in her, it will have a debilitating effect on her performance. And if she does not pass, Sasuke is in for a very rough year. It's not like I don't have faith in her, Kakashi defended himself. I do, it's just, Niji. Hyuga Niji. The Kazekage perked up. I had heard he was quite the prodigy. He is the one who beat my other son, Kankuro, so handily. Niji is quite gifted, Minato acknowledged. I'm glad, the Kazekage remarked. From what I've gathered, Kankuro's defeat was shameful, so I would at least prefer the victor be skilled. Sakura beat Niji's cousin Hinata, Itaka pointed out. And they are young enough to rely heavily on the same family style. Niji's a lot better than Hinata, Kakashi countered. Although you are right, she does know how to beat that, just whether or not she can, she trained with Tsunade, hopefully that will have given her some results. Betting against one's team is far more dicey than betting on them, Minato informed him. Why is that? Kakashi asked. Because if she does lose, then people will cry foul and claim she threw the match, Minato explained. Sakura? Throw a match? Not a chance, Kakashi declared. And like I said, I couldn't bet against her, so I put a little down in her favor. The odds are so against her that on the off chance she wins, I'll make a killing. May our fight be honorable and impressive, Shino said politely once the arena floor had been cleared of everyone but him, his opponent, and the proctor. Gaara merely nodded. Ready, begin. Obito said, before stepping back. Gaara and Shino stared at each other for a moment, both preferring not to be the one to make the first move. Then Gaara sent an experimental wave of sand at Shino, who merely stood there. The sand enveloped the Abarame up to his neck, and Gaara slowly tightened the sand around him. It cannot be that easy, Naruto complained. Come on Shino, do something. Shino's battles are always kind of boring, Kiba confided. But that doesn't mean that he's going down on the first hit. Sure enough, as Gaara continued to squeeze Shino's body, it broke apart to reveal it had been but a bug clone. The real Shino, standing a good 20 feet away from his dispersed clone, sent those bugs Gaara's way, only to be stopped by Gaara's automatic sand shield. So wait, The fight is going to consist of Gaara being unable to get at Shino because he'll keep switching them out for bugs and Shino not being fast enough to get through to Gaara. Sakura summarized. Looks like it, Sasuke agreed. Which won't be very much fun to watch. At least it might take a while, Shikamaru spoke up. The whole exam is so very troublesome. Then why are you even here? Temari demanded. Because dealing with Asuma, Ino, and, scariest of all, my mother if I don't make it is even more troublesome, Shikamaru explained with a yawn. Oh, I will show you troublesome, Temari growled. Save the flirting for the match, Temari, Naruto advised absently. The Sunakunoichi turned incredulous and angry eyes on him and he quickly ducked behind Sasuke. Hide me, oh human shield, Naruto implored. Sasuke couldn't believe this kind of thing kept happening to him. Stay back, Naruto told Temari, pushing Sasuke in front of him. He's too cute to die. Kiba immediately perked up at this. Is that a dash? Not one word, Sasuke said dangerously. Difficult match or what? Kiba continued without missing a beat. If they can't get to each other then they can't end the match or even really showcase their skills. After a few more false starts on both of their ends, Gaara seemed to come to a decision. He sent his sand out again, slow enough for Shino to replace himself with a clone as he had been doing, but this time instead of just trying to immobilize him, he wrapped Shino's bug clone completely in sand. Before Shino could do anything, Gaara clenched his fist tightly and said, Sabaku so-so. Instead of the customary blood and gore this technique usually brought, when the sand imploded it left little black shredded remains from the hundreds of bugs forming the Shino clone everywhere. My bugs. Shino said quietly. I may have no plans to kill you, Gaara said slowly. But I have no compunctions about completely wiping out your army of insects. If you keep using them to shield you then I will destroy them all. Once I do that, I will be able to attack you directly. Shino stood silently for a moment contemplating the news. Finally, he said, there is nothing to be done then. Why? Because this match is not worth the destruction of my colony. I forfeit. The winner is Gaara, Obito announced. The next match is between Naruto and Lee, as soon as we clear out all the bugs. Naruto met Gaara on the stairs back to where the rest of the Chunin hopefuls had gathered. Wow, that match looked so incredibly frustrating I was getting annoyed. Yes, I think I am beginning to understand why an impenetrable defense like mine would get to be wearisome for my opponents, Gaara agreed. Fortunately, he cares too much for those bugs of his to go through with a senseless slaughter or it may have taken even longer. I notice you didn't make any attempt to kill him until the end when you knew it would be a bug clone, Naruto commented. Gaara nodded. I have lasted a month without blood. I can last 3 matches. Naruto grinned. I'll appreciate it when I see you in the finals. Gaara nodded again, looking thoughtful. It's strange, the longer I go without killing the harder it is, but it's easier, too. What? Naruto didn't get it. Gaara just shook his head. Never mind. Tough break, Shino, Kiba said once his teammate had rejoined them on the balcony that served as a waiting area. Indeed, Shino agreed. Kiba reached down to scratch Akamaru behind the ears. I understand, though. If it came down to a match or Akamaru's life, well, I wouldn't even have to think about it. Akamaru barked happily. Ah, Sasuke. Kiba said. Yes. Sasuke asked, wondering why the possibly more annoying version of Naruto persisted in speaking to him. Akamaru said that should you try, he's going for the throat, Kiba warned. Sasuke rolled his eyes. Oh, relax. I'm not going to hold your dog hostage. Yeah, Sakura chimed in. Because while people might be okay with bugs biting it, dogs are adorable and something tells me that a title like Puppy Killer would be enough to scare off even the most rabid of fangirls. Although, if you were going to use him in the fight Sasuke began. Instantly, half the room glared at him. Kidding, God. You shouldn't make jokes, Sasuke, Naruto said, shaking his head. It freaks me out. Come on, that can't be nearly as disturbing as you cross-dressing, Sasuke shot back. Especially you cross-dressing as that man. Yeah, that never happened, remember? Naruto reminded him. And don't make me start on your drag form. The rest of the room watched in stunned silence. Sakura. Lee said at last. What kind of things do your teammates get up to in their free time? The sad thing is, Sakura responded. None of that was during their free time. Niji's head shot in her direction, alarmed. You mean that was for a mission? He had never been so grateful to be on Guy's team before. Well, yes, Sakura admitted reluctantly. It's really not as bad as it sounds, though. That's it for this reading. Hit like and subscribe for a free ticket pass going to the different worlds of anime fanfictions. Looking forward to having you on board again.